What's up, y'all? This your girl, J. Renee with Prison Ride Radio. I hope that you're doing well. This morning, we got a brother on the phone that goes by Ojore. Okay, he is currently on death row for a crime he did not commit. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to get a little insight on who he is as a person. So we're going to jump right into it. This will be part one of a multiple part series. All right. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you for asking. I appreciate you for being here. Most
I
definitely.
appreciate being on here. Anything I can do to support, you know, Prison Ride Radio and Jay Renee, because I know you're doing good work out there. And, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and speak and have people hear my voice.
For sure. This is about you though today. Okay. We definitely gonna have a lot of build sessions. We've been having many offline, but today is about you. Okay. Um,
That's good.
we're gonna jump right into it. Tell people a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
My name is Crandale Ojore McKinnon. And I'm from Southern California. I reside in San Quentin State Prison in Northern California. I was born in Newark, New Jersey, and came to California. My family migrated here when I was like 9 years old, and we lived in the LA area, Riverside County area. That's it. And I'm a father, a grandfather, a writer, a poet, an artist. And, I'm somebody who like to think deeply and, have passionate conversations and engage the people and do what I can to, uplift my people and empower my people.
For sure. Was it a culture shock going from New Jersey to California?
Yes, it was. Because, I ran into some of the same similar, what we call ghetto things or what today we call hood things. But it was most definitely a culture shock because were some things back then when I came out here from in the 70s, in the mid 70s, that were just, totally different. Back in Newark, New Jersey, things were very raw and in your face. And I came up in what they call the brick city, and I came up in some projects and, the whole atmosphere, that concrete jungle atmosphere was real. And when I came out here to California, the scenery and everything was very completely different, even the people.
I can imagine so. Okay, so yeah, I can imagine the drastic difference that was going from one coast to another. How was it growing up in California?
It was good. It was being that, everything was really different, you know, from, California, like back in New Jersey, a lot of things was very aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Because we grew up in the projects. It was like a lot of fights, a lot of shooting. It was just like a lot of things going on all the time. When I
Right.
came to California, I didn't really experience that as much. People were aggressive, and I was fighting and all that, but it was just on a different level. It wasn't. Uh, um, it wasn't done with as much as I could say, like hostility. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? It was just a different kind of aggression. Just that survival aggression, not that hostility aggression.
Okay. Okay. I can see what you mean by that. So, how did you go from, just being an average kid to being on death row? Wrongfully so at that.
Yeah. Or let me before I speak on that, let me say this. One of the other big differences is about coming from out there to California was this is where I really experienced racism at. I knew racism back there with the police and stuff like that, but being that I lived in a predominantly black community, I didn't really experience racism on no, real personal level like that. I just knew about it through the police. When I came to California, I experienced it through actual people and neighbors and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that was a very big difference for me. But Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that I was a normal kid because, like I said, I came up in the ghetto in Newark, and when we moved out here, we lived in L.A., and so things was very different. So, but when I moved to Riverside County, things were also different, and that's why I really started experiencing a lot of racism out there. So, being I already had that mentality within me of being, aggressive and hostile and fighting for survival and all that. So, even when we moved to, Riverside, we were still poor people,
Right.
so things wasn't really normal for me in that sense. So being that I was always, excuse me, being that I was always scrapping for survival my whole life, when I went to Riverside, it was just, doing the same thing. So, it was kind of like I was on a path already to be in the juvenile hall and probably going to prison if I didn't straighten my life up.
Okay. So let me ask you. I know when you say Riverside, people that is from the area will understand what you mean. But for those of
Mm-hmm.
us that don't know what that means, what is Riverside? Like, what do you when you say that?
Well, Riverside is what they call the suburbs outside of Los Angeles County. It's probably like
Okay.
an hour and 45 minutes outside of Los Angeles County. You know what I'm saying? It's Riverside County and San Bernardino County. Out that way. But it's more just like suburbs. You know what I'm saying? Where all the hustle and bustle of the city is not necessarily occurring out there. Back when I moved out there, it wasn't, now you got a lot of people from LA and different areas moving out there, but
Okay.
back then it was just a little bit more laid back. I mean, you had your areas that was the ghetto for sure,
Okay.
you know, but it wasn't like city life. When I lived in LA, they had the gangs and the Crips and the Bloods was out there, not as they were now. It was a little bit different back in those 70s. But when I moved out to Riverside, you didn't really have that like that on that same level. So
Okay.
it was more, suburb type of living, but still grimy though.
Okay. I can understand that. So I know that you on death row. So I want to ask you, sincerely, like, how are you?
I'm mentally,
Yeah.
mentally and spiritually, I'm sound, resilient, motivated, inspired by the things I do, inspired by people like you and people, who I'm in communication with, my advocates and supporters. So, they keep me inspired and, fighting. And, you know, on a daily basis, I'm constantly trying to, grow as a person, develop as a person, and, fighting for my freedom and justice in life.
Right. So what are some of the things that you've been doing to bring awareness to your wrongful conviction?
I, one of the things I do is I write. I write essays. I do interviews. I try to get on podcasts and stuff like that through, individuals that my supporters hook me up with. And, I basically write a lot of attorneys. I write a lot of organizations and, often send out my poems and my essays to people who accept writings from prisoners and stuff like that. And, a lot of stuff is about prison, but sometimes I slide something in there that might be personal about me and, my life or,
Right.
what my thoughts are and stuff like that. So it's just, I use different avenues to get my story out there. And not too long ago, I completed my death row memoirs.
Okay. So, so what made you what made you start expressing yourself through writing?
Most people know of Stanley Tookie Williams, one of the co-founders of the Crips.
Mm.
Before they murdered him, he was here, and he always inspired me and encouraged me to write. And that's how I got into writing. He used to always encourage me to do it, but I used to think that I couldn't do it.
Right.
And then when they murdered him, I decided to write a piece about him.
Right.
The year after they murdered him, and when I wrote it, I submitted it to a newspaper. They accepted it and published it, and I ain't looked back since. That was it.
For sure. Speaking of writing, I know that you have a website, right?
Yes.
All right, tell the people about your website.
My website is freeojure.com. On the website, you can go there. I have, excuse me, I have all my documents up there. Police reports, investigative reports. Because due to my innocence, I want people to be able to read for themselves that why I'm saying that I'm innocent and why I can prove that I'm innocent. So I want them to see the actual documents. Excuse me. I want them to see the actual documents and read it for themselves and just not go on my word. So if they see the actual police reports and stuff like that and read them for themselves, they can say, okay, yeah, he's innocent,
Right.
from their own point of view, not me trying to convince them that I'm innocent. But yeah, the website hosts my writings, it hosts my art, it hosts, I done a few, we have a little podcast. We haven't done that in a while, but I used to do some of my podcast stuff on there, talk about myself on there. So it's just basically where I host everything, all about free Ojore and my campaign to free Ojore. So that's basically what it is, and the website is freeojore.com. That's FREEOJORE.com.
Okay. I'm glad that you got that up. I'll definitely make sure to link it up so people can get a wind of it. How long have you been behind the G wall, bro?
30 years. I've been wrongfully and unjustly incarcerated for 30 years, but I've been on California's death row for 24.
Okay. And how do you like what keeps you motivated day for day to not just be like fuck it?
It truly is the writing and like I say, being in contact with positive people and people that's doing positive things. You know what I'm saying? Because being in prison, as you already know, it's a lot of negative people in here. It's not a lot of people that's doing what I'm doing.
Right.
So you have to really be connected with people on the outside and pretty much in here who have to share that same mindset as you and who are focused and resilient and have that fighter spirit.
Right.
Most people in here have a fighter spirit, but it's not the fight to get free spirit. It's the fight to just for survival and the other prison politics that go on. But yeah, my motivation comes from people like you, and I genuinely mean that because it's true. When I talk to positive people who are doing things, and getting work done, then, that inspired me to continue doing what I'm doing. It
Yeah.
motivates me. And especially when I write something or a poem or essay and it gets published, shit, that's very motivating.
Yeah, I can dig it. And like just from our conversations that we've had conversations at length, Um so you definitely got a lot to add to the atmosphere, and I look forward
Right.
to, being a part of the reason why some of that gets out there. How can people get in contact with you if they want to reach out?
They can get in contact with me two ways. One, you can get in contact with me through if you just want to make contact to, say hello, send some good words of, positivity and health and, well-being, stuff of that nature. You can contact me through freeojure at gmail.com,
Right.
or you can write me directly at San Quentin State Prison. That's Ojore McKinnon. Ojore is Ojore McKinnon, McKinnon. That's CDCR number P32800 and San Quentin, California 94974.
Okay. Now this is just an introduction. Of course, this is like I said, this is one of many, but that's why I want to have it too long. But I want to give you an opportunity to, just to address the listeners, drop some gems or anything you think they should know, anything like that. The floor is yours.
I would like to say to all the people out there who are doing prison reform or prison advocacy or are working to, help prisoners, be genuine. don't do this work for money. Do it for the passion and the struggle, and because you truly understand that the system is corrupt and that the system is unjust. Because even though I'm innocent, there's a lot of people in here that can fall under the wrongfully convicted banner, and we truly need help to correct what's going on in the system. So, please, do the work genuinely and be honest, because there's brothers in here and sisters in here who genuinely need that help and need the support of people out there. Because I can guarantee you, as most of y'all know who's genuinely doing the work, we're not going to get what we need done if we don't have genuine people doing the work, and without having people in our way, confusing people and not doing that genuine work. And the work is going to be done by the people. The system is not going to correct itself. And I would say to any young people out there who are, so-called living a life in the game, doing what they do, let me say this to you. Pay attention to your parents. Your parents love you, and they have nothing but your best interests at heart. You know, I can tell you firsthand, and there's thousands of people in prison who would tell you the same thing. The people who you think got your back and will show you loyalty and are telling you they love you, they don't love you when they come to prison. When you come to prison, you're on your own. The only people you have mostly is your family members on the outside and your homeboys and the people you know inside. The rest of your homeboys that's on the outside, I can guarantee you, 98% of them are not going to support you. They're not going to stand by you. They're not going to be concerned if you got an attorney. They're not going to be concerned if you got money on your canteen. They're not going to be concerned for your children if you have children out there. They're not going to be concerned if your rent is paid, if your mother is getting to a doctor's appointment, your father getting to a doctor's appointment. So, be genuine and deal with the people who love you for real, and that's your family and your parents. And if you in school, stick with that education, because truly, I tell you, education is going to take you a lot further than anything else.